What is up, guys? It's your boy Torius back again with another video. Today we're gonna be talking about reading, right? What is the most efficient way to read? Like how to read, right? How to read and how to read more efficient, right? Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, comment what you think about the video. Let's get into it. So, I always hear this by people, right? Because I read a lot of books and I listen to a lot of audios and whatever. They would always say like, oh, I can't read books because I always like think about other things, and sometimes I don't pay attention to what I'm reading. You know, all this nonsense, right? The thing about the way that we see books is, okay, I read this and I get the information and I'm good, right? But like, no, that's not how it works, right? Let's define a good library, right? To define a good library means to it's a good selection of books, right? Like 12 or 13 books. I actually learned this from this book. It's called Pimpology, How to Be a Pimp, by I forgot who it was. A good library is basically just a collection of, like, I would say like 20 books, right? And you just read them over and over and over again in your life. Like, cause what are books, right? I don't really read too much nonfiction. Actually, no, I only read nonfiction. I don't read too much fiction, right? Like, I never was the type to read like Harry Potter or like some shit like that, or like Chronicles of Narnia. I ain't read none of those books, right? But I've always been drawn into information, right? To educational books. And the way I see books is that, you know, like, books are manuals, right? Books are manuals on how to live. Because I noticed a lot of the books that I read, they all say the same stuff, right? They're mostly about thoughts, about psychology. Because I'll listen to, like, there's this book called The Master Key, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. What is it about? It's about getting successful. What do they talk about? Controlling your thoughts, right? Most books I listen to like, they all say the same thing, right? There's a book called The Game of Life. That one is about controlling your thoughts. I listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about controlling your thoughts, right? He's always talking about controlling your thoughts. Every book I listen to is always control your thoughts, right? And I realized that, oh, okay, that's basically, it's just a manual on how to control your thoughts, right? When you order something, right? When you order something, like if you're trying to build a table, what do? You read the manual. The directions. How do I build this? I don't know. I gotta read the manual, right? When you read the manual, you understand, this is what I gotta do. This is what I do to make it, right? It's the same thing with books. Like, books are basically just manuals. She kind of old, but she kind of fine. Lady next to me. But yeah, books are manuals, right? The thing is, you don't gotta always you know, they're just manuals to life, you know? Like, the book will tell you something. And I was actually I was listening to like Elliot Holt's video, right? And he was talking about Brian Tracy and how he said that you should always just, like, if you want to read more efficient, you have to skip to a certain part, right? Like, that's what Brian Tracy says. He says, read the chapter that most interests you, and then just take from that, right? And that's literally what the Pimpology book was talking about, the How to Be a Pimp book. He was saying like, oh, if you ever get lost, go to this page, and then this page, you know, this will guide you, right? That's basically what he was saying. Like, just take what you need from the book. But the thing is, I feel like what you should do is get familiar with the book first, right? Like, yeah, it's important to just, sometimes you read a whole book and like the whole book's garbage, but you get one thing out of it, right? Like, I read Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. The whole book was just an advertisement, right? So I was, you know, I felt like I was duped. But there was one thing I took out of the book that I will forever ingrained in my head, and is that business is made on the golf course, right? It's the same as watching tutorials. Like sometimes I'll watch a whole tutorial on things I already know how to do, but then you just take out one little gem, right? It's all about gems. Like books, the way I see books is that like they're like rocks, right? Like books are like the earth, and you're just mining in the earth, mining in the earth, mining in the earth, mining in the earth. And then one day, oh shit, I found a gem. And it's like one little nugget of gold. One little nugget of gold is worth all those years of digging. You feel me? Like it's worth it. Like you don't need to have like, oh, I know everything, I know this book cover to cover, right? You don't need to know a whole book cover to cover. And honestly, if you're reading a book or listening to it and you don't pay attention to what's being said, don't feel bad, because that just means that it's not for you yet, right? It doesn't resonate with you. Like if you're not paying attention to it, it's because you don't care about it, because it's like teaching a kid, right? If a kid wants to go in the pool, but they can't swim, and they're like, oh, I want to go in the water, and you tell the kid, nah, you can't because you're gonna drown. The kid doesn't have any experience, doesn't have the concept in his mind about drowning, right? So it's like, drown? What does that mean? I don't know. So the kid doesn't know nothing about drowning. Go, nigga. The kid doesn't understand what it means to drown, right? Because he's never drowned before. He's never seen anyone drown. You can't explain that concept. You can't explain a mortgage to a child that's never paid a bill. You feel me? So don't feel bad if you're just like, damn, I can't comprehend what the hell I just read. It's all right. There's been times I'm listening to an audiobook and then something important is being said and I rewind it like 3-5 times and I'm like, fuck, that sounds important. I just did it today. I was like, damn, that sounds important. But my brain is just not grasping it, right? It's just not grasping it. But the thing is, you go back to it a couple years later, a couple months later, a couple days later, or however long, and then you listen to it again and you're just like, oh, okay, because more things happen in your life. Now you're able to comprehend it. Because if you didn't comprehend it at that time, then it wasn't for you. And the reason why people don't read is because of their impatience, right? They're just impatient. They don't want to sit down, open a book and read it. Or they don't want to sit down, just listen to an audiobook. They would rather listen to music, listen to like gossip or some shit. But you know, books are just there for you to you can always go back to the book, right? Like I must have read Lead the Field at least like 30 times, right? Nah, not 30. I feel like probably 10 times. I've listened to The Way of the Superior Man like 6 times, right? I've listened to The Compound Effect probably like 5 times. I always go back to these books, right? A lot of times they're really long, but sometimes you have to just keep going back to the book because it's like a cave, right? A book is like a cave, and sometimes different things open up to you. Like you just go, and there's so many tunnels, right? But you can only go through one tunnel at a time. But then as time goes on, the book opens more tunnels, and it's like, oh shit, there's another tunnel here. I didn't see it because it was dark. But then now, next time you go through the tunnel and it's dark, you don't know what the hell's going on. Next time you're like, you know what, I'm gonna bring a light. Okay, and you bring a light and you're like, oh look, there's this place in here. Oh, there's this place. And then next time you're like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna bring a mining equipment. So you bring a pickaxe and you're like, oh, you know what, I can make my own tunnels. So you make more tunnels in the cave. And then next time is more people come and they're like, you bring more people and they're like, oh look what we can do in this cave. And you just go through more tunnels. You feel me? So it's like every time that you read it, it's like the knowledge accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. And it's like you have to have that experience first, right? Because I always notice that anytime that I read a book, like books reveal themselves to me, right? Like if I don't just be like, oh, you know what, this looks nice. Like no, I always go off of like, because I feel like the universe communicates to me, right? Like the universe communicates in signs, and it's like the universe like will literally tell you what the fuck to do, right? Like if there's a book that just calls out to me, I'll read it. I'll just be like, okay, this book is calling out to me, right? And I'll start reading it, and then it's so funny because it's like the next chapter of my life will reflect the book, right? Like there was this one book I was listening to. It's called the Wealth Attraction, right? Money and Wealth Attraction by Frederick Dodson. And no. Scratch that. It was called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, right? I was listening to this book, and it's so funny because homeboy was talking about, oh, every time I see a coin on the floor, I pick it up and I say, oh, I'm a money magnet, right? And I was like, oh, that's lit. And I was walking by this place in Miami. It's called like the Old Chinese Bridge, right? And it's funny because like I got this feeling of like, oh shit, that's lit, I'm gonna start doing that, right? But I was like, oh, should I? Because I always had this thing about picking up money. Because in America, it's looked down on, right? Like, we all know it's looked down on to pick up money on the floor. Even though it's funny because my homeboy told me, oh, you don't see money on the floor in like DR or like in other countries, right? You don't see money on the floor like that, like you see here. Like here, America's so fucking abundant that there's money on the floor, my nigga. Like, you can hate rich people as much as you want, but my nigga, there's money on the floor. You just pick it up and like, okay, I have more money than like 10% of the world. You feel me? But yeah. Where are they going with this? I don't remember. But you just got to keep listening to books over and over and over again, right? You just got to keep. Oh yeah. So like he said, pick up money on the floor, and I was like, all right, bet, right? And I was like, I don't know. I was questioning myself. I was like, should I do it? I don't know. I should maybe. But then it's funny because like I'm walking, and then all of a sudden I get to this like big ass fucking wishing well, and I'm like, oh shit, that's crazy. That's why he said, like, literally right when I got that epiphany in my head, he's like, oh, like I just look around and I'm at the fucking wishing well by the Chinese bridge, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm a money magnet for real, because look at all these fucking coins on the floor, like, because everyone's just throwing the coins, and then I landed, like, while I'm walking, right, and I landed literally at the spot where the fucking coins were at. So I'm just like, damn, that's crazy, because it's like he said it and then I'm here and there's coins everywhere. I'm just like, I attracted all these coins, and I realized like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this. And it actually worked because one time, because I got so used to doing it, right, I'd be walking around and just pick up coins and then say, I'm a money magnet, right? I just say that. And then all of a sudden, one day I was at Rolling Loud and I'm walking and I see $1 on the floor. I'm like, oh shit, $1. And I'm just so used to picking up money that I go and I pick it up. Little did I know, it was actually $40, right? I always tell people the story and it's crazy. And I'm just like, oh shit, I just got $40, right? Because who the hell finds $40 on the floor? You feel me? That's a lot of money. But yeah, reading books is very important. And if you're not grasping the information, it's because the information isn't for you yet. Like, I'll still read Lead the Field, and I'll think about all the things, because I read that book like 6 years ago, right? 6 or 7 years ago, maybe, probably a little earlier. And while I was reading it, a lot of things, like, yeah, I got a lot of the things. Obviously, I understood the book, but now it's like when I listen to it again, it's like, oh shit, this hits me different. You feel me? It hits different because it's like, it's a different thing. Like, he's explaining things that happened recently, and I'm just like, okay, oh, I understand. That's why it's so important to read books, right? I mean, you get this all the time with, like, even watching TV, right? Like, even if you're watching like stupid reality shows, like, they can still be educational. Like, don't let people think that garbage TV can't be educational, right? Like, you can always learn something. That's why a lot of the garbage shows are on the TLC, right? The learning channel, because you're learning from like all these other people. You feel me? So with that being said, if you want to read faster, oh yeah, don't even worry about reading faster. Just like, because you don't need to read every single book in the world, right? There's too many fucking books for you to read or even listen to, right? There's so much information. Like, you don't even need to read books. Like, you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to like books. That's one thing I wanted to talk about too, judging a book by its cover, right? Because a book might be like fucking called something, right? Damn, nigga. People are so crazy, dog. A book might be called something, right? Like, you'll read a book about like the mind, but then you'll understand like, oh shit, that's why the cosmos is like that. Right? Like, you'll learn about the cosmos, not just about the mind. You'll you'll read a book about fire hydrant, but then you'll learn about the whole entire history of like the fire department, or like you'll just learn some random ass shit. You feel me? And it's like, those are those little gems that you just got to pick up on, like, right? You just got to pick up on those little things. And it's like, damn, dog, you're going so slow. Why? People cannot drive, dog. I always make these videos while I'm driving. People cannot drive. But yeah, So, you know, like the book, read through the book. If you don't pick up some shit, just be grateful for the things that you do pick up on, right? Because it's not that serious. Like, you don't need to know the entire book. You don't even need to know all the books. As long as you know a couple books pretty well, it's better. Oh, motherfucker, bro. What the fuck is this? Come on, guys. What is this, dog? Dummies. Dumb people don't know how to drive, dog. But yeah, it's just like skills, right? Like people that read and they're like, oh, I don't grasp everything in the book. It's like, yeah, because it's not your time. It's just like learning a skill, right? It's like if I was tattooing and I was watching someone tattoo and I'm like watching them and I'm just like, oh, oh damn, I can't recreate that exact tattoo now. Like, damn, I must suck because I can't recreate the entire tattoo. I'm gonna stop tattooing because I can't do that. But it's like you don't need to recreate the entire tattoo. You just watch the tattoo and then you understand what happened and then you pick out what you could comprehend from there that you didn't know before, right? And you just do that gradually over time and then eventually you'll be able to do that. So that's my message to you guys. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment what you think, and if you want me to say what you want me to talk about in the next video. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.